Welcome everyone to Evony Throne Time with Viri from Server 360. Today we're going to do a recap on SVS preparations. I've made a new checklist that I use for myself, and I just want to share that with you in case you kind of stumble upon and forget to do things. Hopefully I'll be covering most of the things that you need to do and that are the most important. SVS, as you know, should be coming tomorrow sometime. Depends on where you're at around the world, but at least 24 hours from now, you should be quite ready for SVS. So let's jump right into that list. What I typically do is start with enemy research. It's so important to research your enemy. It's like doing any kind of job in the real world or homework. You know, you have to do these things to figure out what is the best angle to win this war, or the best angle to protect yourself or to protect your alliance members or even your server. So the first thing I do is I go to the SVS War tab, and that you're going to find in the Event Center. Scroll down until you see the Server War. Now, if it's at the beginning of or at the end of KE at the reset when SVS War comes on, you're going to see the prior SVS War information here, and that's okay. You're not going to be able to find anything from this early in the week, but what you can do if you go back, you will have the server Monarch competition, and that's going to tell you what server you will be playing that following week. Okay, from here, you're basically going to go out and find on the map that particular server by hitting World Map. A little bit of lag in my game today. Server list, and then scrolling around finding what server you need to look at in order to try to start bookmarking alliances, enemy alliances in there. I won't do that. I think most people know how to do that. So I'm going to fast forward into North America's reset time frame, which would be Wednesday evening at reset. For me, is when I can really start looking into the enemy, and I'll go over a few points there. So we're playing server 253. I'm from server 360. It's not going to show any points, rankings, things like that yet because the war hasn't started. But what you can do is go to ranking of enemy server, and the first topic I look at is Monarch power ranking. I want to see who the heavy hitters are. Okay, and as you can see, we're just going from the top down. We have a 3.3 bill player. I can go in and view his alliance, view the members, and see what basically what kind of crew he has that may or may end up not hurting me. All right, we'll scroll back and I go into detail. And I look to make sure he actually is a level 35, which looking at the billion number here, more than likely he was. I see how many battles he's won. Most of these are boss attacks. However, I look at the battles lost too to see, or at least try to gauge, okay, how many of those could have been PvP and how many of those could have been boss. I'll never know, but I try to make my own assumptions. And just in case, I do click on these just for the fact that some people do forget. They don't hide that information. So any information I can gather, the better for me. Then I go through the next one. I just keep going down the list. Now, I won't go through everyone, but there are. I don't know if I'll find any, but we're just going to click into one here. We can look at his detail. He's a level 35. Let's see, I can locate him from here, and I'm going to go ahead and arrest warrant him, and I want to see if he actually shows a level 35, and he doesn't. You see that he is a level 33, and although let's go in here again, Monarch levels 35, so he has used a little trick. I got lucky on this one. He used a little trick, and I won't tell you how it's done because I don't really approve of it, but he used a little trick on some programming behind the scenes that is just a glitch, I believe, in Evony's system, where you can change your entire name to show make it appear that you're a smaller level than what you actually are. If you go to this guy here, more than likely he is a level 31, you see. But if we go back to our little friend here who's using the trick, he is a level 35. So it's always important to go into this Monarch detail area to find out for sure whether or not he is a real 33 or a 35, because a lot of people will attack. If you're low enough keep, they'll attack you just assuming that they're going to win. Well, in this case, a 33 and above, I wouldn't just attack. I mean, I scout pretty much everything anyways, and you all should be too. But, you know, if I was extremely powerful 35, I might just attack this guy if he's sitting out in the middle of nowhere. But again, I would always scout. But in this case, he's really a level 35, not a 33. So this is one quirk of the game that you have to get used to moving forward, unless Evony changes that. But, you know, that's food for thought. All right, so let's get back. Let's get back to the event center and go back into SVS. All right, so we're going to check the Monarch power rankings. We definitely want to see what's going on with those Monarchs, see who the power hitters are. Then you want to check the killing ranking. You want to see, okay, who likes to PvP? Okay, we know this guy does. We know this person does, this person, and so forth. The ones at the top typically like to PvP. And what I typically do is I'll go in there, and again, this is probably the good time to do a blacklist, is up at the top when you click into a player, up at the top here, you can block them. And when you block them, that puts them on a blacklist. Now I've got this one. I'm going to go into a couple of more. I want to block them. And I'll explain the reason why in just a moment after I've done a few of these. And this is not even the full list. I mean, there's some other larger players on here that I will search out and put them on a list, a blacklist as well. And let's just do one more for good fun. All right. So I've got a short list of a blacklist going on. The next I go into general ranking. General ranking is huge because you want to see who the players are that have the biggest generals that can hurt you. So you see here, Brain Candy has two of the both top spots. He has a ground march and an archer march. Alfred is archer, Scipio is ground. They both look pretty powerful. I then go in, if you know anything about gear and refinements, I then go in and start peeking out what he has refined. One, I can see his dragon. So that gives me some details on what he is going to be strongest at with the dragon. And then I go into each of the gears to see. He has really high research on, or excuse me, refines on these. You know, it maxes out at 25%. So just on his sword, he is like right there. And that's why you see this number so high. His power is 5.8. That is quite high, and it's going to be tough to beat this guy heads up unless we do a little fancy trapping. You see he's very high here. He has the Ara's armor. Looks like he has all matching gear, so he gets an additional buff from that, and I'll show you. When you click on that, he's going to get some, for having the set of 6, he's going to get some additional buffs from that, attributes. Ground and man on troop attack and defense on monsters. March size capacity, he adds an additional 10%, and then attacking troops attack 15%, just for having this set. It's really nice. There are some distinct differences when it comes to refining gear. I have a couple Achaemenid on my Scipio that I think helps me in other ways, but again, it's all how you like to gear yourself and refine. But nonetheless, this is a good area. Look at their generals. Find out what they're using. He's probably using both of these as attack generals. At least I would. And then you've got Queen 15, who has a pretty powerful Electra here. Again, we're going to go in, and it looks like she's mixed Achaemenid with some Auras, as you can see. And we want to look to make sure she's matched up with her pre-buff, which is the buff that comes with the general, increases mounted troops and ranged troops attack 15%, and increases the ranged troops attack by another 20% when they bring a dragon. Well, she's got the dragon, and this dragon is suited for Electra. So you have to beware of things like this. A lot of the players out there don't really care about this. I mean, you do and you don't, but you don't go into such detail or depth. For someone like me and other players in the game, we want to know, because we're going to tactically find a good way to beat them based off the information that's shared here. And I guarantee you they're looking at our big players as well. So we'll go through that list for the general rankings. And again, I've already gone over the blacklist. And from this, you can just go in and click, not from the general, but the Monarch. You can go into Monarch Power Ranking and just click into any one of these and click block right from there. Another way to do that is go to server chat. That's another nice place. Before Wednesday, before the reset on Wednesday evening, my time, North America, you can't go in and do this. Even if you go to the other server and you locate people, it won't allow you to put them into a blocked state. It just doesn't give that option. You can't even view Alliance at that point. But what you can do is when somebody starts talking Monday morning, right after KE reset, then bingo, you're going to see them here, and you will, because they're offering themselves into a joint chat, you can then click on that person and block them from here early in the week. You just can't do it the other way until after reset midweek, which is 2 days before SVS starts, or 2.5 days. Okay, let's go back into server war. And I don't know why my system keeps doing that. All right, server war. The other thing you can do is go into the Alliance power ranking. Here you can see who the top alliance is. We knew this already. You can then click in, you can view members and find out who are the biggest power players within this alliance. You've got, of course, Teddy Hugs here. He's the leader. You've got Twisted here. You've got Lady C. You know, they're up there in power. And I thought, yep, there she is, or he is, 3.3 billion players. So they've got some power on here. And what you're looking for with the power and how many people have power is their rallying capacity. You know, if they put together a rally, how much damage are they going to be able to do? And it looks like they're going to be able to do some big damage at the right moment. So that's why I go into the Monarch, or excuse me, the Alliance power ranking as well. I look at all those things. Again, the killing ranking, Alliance killing ranking is different from killing ranking. This is individualized, and this is as a team. So you can see that VNG has done up to this point over almost 1.1 billion in killing. And you can, again, just click in there and view their members and go through everything, all the details that you want to figure out on them. Okay, so researching the enemy is important. I think everyone should be doing this, whether you're a PvP fighter or not. You could be a farmer, but it's still good to know, to learn for your own knowledge if you plan on continuing to play this game for quite some time and learning to be a PvPer. All right, so next we'll go into my own reminders, my own keep reminders. First thing I do every time before SVS is I change my wall general to a defensive general. Very important. How many times have we all seen an attack on a keep and their defense general is Shahar? Ding, 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 ding. Okay, I think we hit the lottery or a slot machine there because we have seen it a lot. Defense general, make sure you go in here. Make sure you put your dedicated defense general on your wall, because you don't want to be caught with your pants down. Shahar's on the wall. You're going to lose big. You're going to lose your resources. It's going to take a long time to rebuild. And I guarantee you that's why most people quit the game. Hands down. They work so hard for weeks or months on end. They get one attack and they get zeroed and they're out. We don't want to see that happen. I mean, we all love to play the game to some extent, and those more serious about it than others really like to play it. And yes, including me, I want to zero you, or at least have the opportunity to zero you, but I want you to keep playing too. It doesn't mean I'm going to hold back, but it does mean that we're all human beings. We enjoy the game, and we want you to keep on going. It's just part of the game. It's a war game, so people don't take this game personally or attacks personally. I think that's one of the biggest problems in the game with inner server talking with each other. There's a lot of hot-headed people out there, and it's just unfortunate. But you know what? Keep an open mind, and don't take anything personally if you've been zeroed or attacked. Okay, so we've changed the general, very important. You want to the next thing I do is check my March presets. You know, throughout the week I'm doing different things, and I'm forgetful. So when I go into my March presets, I want to know that, hey, okay, I still have my boss general in case I just want to chill out and hit some bosses. I still have a following rally, my Babers. I have 2 of those. And then I do have my Scipio, and I have my Alfred. Okay, those are my 2 attack, defense, reigning defense, etc., etc. I want to make sure those are all set up. I'm not going to scroll through my list because we're at SVS, and I don't want the enemy to find out what I'm using right at this moment. But scroll through your list, make sure that is accurate. There have been some times where either KE or Battlefield or something, where I've noticed my marches get messed up for some reason. And I think it's because if I lose a bunch of troops and I go in and I hit that preset again and I don't really know what I have left, especially in Battlefield, somehow there's either a glitch or something else that I'm unaware of. Maybe you all do and can shoot me a comment. But it just kind of resets. It doesn't look right. The next time after everything is the dust is settled, I go in there and think, what the heck did I do? So I always check my March presets. Again, very, very important to do that. Check your bubble. Okay, that should be way down here at the bottom. I mislabeled that. But nonetheless, I can't reiterate this enough. Check your bubble. Check your bubble. Make sure that bubble stays active 24/7 as long as you're not PvPing or on the enemy server hitting fairies or Ares statues or anything else. Make sure when you get back, you immediately put a bubble on, because trust me, someone from the other server with 300, 400, 500 people are looking at you. Check and apply Monarch buffs for PvPing. Okay, now this is going to be right before you want to PvP. Don't do it at the beginning of SVS if you don't plan on PvPing, because you will be wasting them. But you just go into your city buff, and the 4 that I always look for, again, here's the truce agreement. Make sure you've got that bubble activated. But the 4 I look for is march size capacity, all troops attack, all troops defense, and all troops HP. So important to use all 4 of them. If you plan on PvPing and attacking people, you need all 4. If you plan on reinforcing someone as a trap, you need all 4. If you plan on going onto the enemy server killing fairies for any time, you need all 4. Okay? No matter what, I would always be using all 4. And I try to put the 1 hour buffs on. Don't use the 10 minutes. 10-minute buffs, those are typically for rallying larger players. I would just use the 1 hour buffs. But again, so very important to put those on prior to PvPing. And when they run out, if you're on the other server for quite some time or reigning someone over an hour, you better set an alarm to establish those buffs again, because they will run out and you will get damaged if hit. Okay, shrine. Okay, this can be a little expensive sometimes, but the shrine, when you go into the shrine prior to PvPing, you can offer gems or offer tributes. And what the shrine does is it can give you buffs. It can give you buffs. Let me state that again. Doesn't mean you will get them. You need to offer 20 times. You need all of these light blue diamonds to light up. That means you've offered 20 times. As you can see here, I need to offer 17 more times to activate it. I've offered it 3 just for the daily activity, but 17 more times will activate additional buffs for my level. Okay, ranged troop attack, additional 20%, siege at 20, mounted troop at 20, and ground at 20. So very important. This could make all the difference in winning or losing by a little or a lot. So make sure you put that, make sure you offer some of those things, gems or tributes to the shrine, because that will help you. Okay, last but not least, plan your work and work your plan. And what I mean by that is when you go to the enemy server or even on your own server, you need to have some kind of developed plan in your head. Okay, this is what I want to accomplish today. I want to sit over here and wait for, sit at a temple and wait for an enemy to show up to see who it is and try to attack them, or play cat and mouse at the temple to see if I can get some additional points. Or I want to go to, let's go back to my bookmarks here. I want to go to an alliance on the enemy server. Let me just go to the world map here. In addition, you want to know kind of where the power players are, where at on the map, so you can click directly to them if you have a goal in mind, or you want to keep track of somebody. But what do you want to do? You have to plan that work before you can work the plan. Okay. Let's take, for instance, SVS started, or at least let's say 5 to 10 minutes before SVS started, and I was planning on playing right when it began. I would have this little farm located already, and this one, and any others that may be available when it starts, because I would instantly be porting over there, cracking their heads, bundling up, going to another place on the map that I've already bookmarked, hitting those, and moving on. Okay? Or do you want to trap somebody? Do you want to go over to the enemy server, throw a reinforcement in him, have that person work an alliance or scout in hopes of getting a bigger player to come over and attack him blindly? These are all things you need to think about, and you need to work it out with your alliance. Communication is key. If you can get on a line call with your alliance members that you're going to be playing with, I recommend doing that. Not all the time can I do that. It's not often, because so many of us have different lifestyles and things going on during the day, but we'll catch each other once in a while and we'll talk and try to organize and get planned. But, it's so important to do that if you have the capabilities of doing that. Otherwise, just communicate, in your whispers. Anytime we do war activities, it's me and one other person typically, or me and, it could be several different people, but one I work with a lot. Kudos to my buddy EC. He's the one I'm referring to. He and I work a lot in whispers. We plan out where he's going to port, plan out where I'm going to port, and then I send a rain, and then he starts working his magic, and I'm just sitting there watching the tables flow and looking for any opportunities when they come. Those are the kind of things I'm talking about when I say plan your work and work your plan. So many times have I seen people zeroed because they really had no plan, and nonchalantly, I'm just going to go over to the other side and start hitting fairies or attack somebody, and they don't realize that somebody has had their eyes on them the entire time. So make sure you're keeping well aware of what's going on the other server while you're online, and what's going on with your own server and in your alliance, because you want to protect your own teammates from a disaster. It's nothing more heartbreaking than seeing one of your own get zeroed or hit, and you couldn't do anything about it after the fact, but you could have prior to that. So, all right, I think that's going to do it for me today. Hopefully this has been informative enough. If you have any additional details you'd like to add to the list that I just gave everyone, send it in the comments or shoot me an email at viribus007@gmail.com, and I'll make sure we get it up on some kind of board. Until next time, live life first, play Evony second, and I'll see you on the battlefield.